Hi guys, my name is Julia and welcome back to my channel where every Sunday I upload a new yoga video for you. And this week we're doing one of your favorite types of classes, the morning yoga stretch flows. So the reason why I think you guys love these is because we really work into the entire body in such a short space of time. So it's perfect for anyone to be able to squeeze in at the beginning of their day so they make sure that that day is amazing afterwards. So if that sounds good to you, let's get started in a comfortable seated position. And actually, before we stay here for our meditation, I would like to open up the body slightly so that you can feel a little bit better in your seat. So bring the soles of your feet down onto the mat or the ground in front of you, and bring your hands behind you with your fingers pointing towards your body. And we're just going to simply drop our knees from one side to the other as we open up our hips. So after a night of sleep, your hips might be quite tight. I know I always love to do a little bit of this in the morning just to get any of the clicks and ticks out. And you can also start connecting with your breath, inhaling to one side and exhaling over to the other. Pressing into the hands, also stretching out the wrists a little bit here. And getting some internal and external rotation into the hips this morning. Beautiful. And let's come back to center. Let's bring the soles of the feet together here, coming into our butterfly pose. Hands onto your ankles, roll the shoulders up towards the ears on an inhale. And exhale down. Beautiful. Let's walk our hands forward and then simply melt over your legs. So I don't want you to have to hold anything or force anything here. Just bring your chin in towards your chest so we can really ensure that your spine is nice and long all the way to the neck. And just let yourself become heavy over your legs. This is a great way to open up the hips in the morning, but also one of my favorite stretches if I have a tight back, which typically you can get after a night's rest. Even the upper back here, which can be tight from winter, cuddling up in the warmth, or as I said, from sleep, since if you sleep on your side, you're usually cuddled up in your duvet. This is great to just open up this area and all the way down to the lower back. Take one deep breath here. And exhale, sigh out the mouth. Beautiful. Let's slowly lift our head up and we're going to just gently walk our hands over towards the right side and then just drop your head down here. So start to feel that beautiful side stretch here in the left side body. Chin in towards the chest so our spine is nice and long. But again, no forcing here. We're really in the beginning part of our class. So just bringing some awareness to the body and see how it feels in this position. And then let's walk our hands all the way over to the left side here and drop the head down. Stretching out the right side body here, bringing some deep breaths into the side. Expanding the lungs, expanding the rib cage, expanding the body. Beautiful. And now coming back through center, let's walk our hands in towards the body and come into our cross-legged seated position for our introduction meditation. Closing the eyes if they aren't already, resting the hands onto the thighs. Feeling your shoulders melt away and drop down from the ears. And already seeing if these very quick, gentle stretches allowed your hips to feel a bit more open and ready for this seated position this morning. And coming into stillness. It's always beautiful to start our day with a moment of awareness, checking in and seeing how the body's feeling. How's the mind? Is it racing already, or are you still slowly waking up? The morning's a great time to practice because before we get off and we have so many things to do and so many impressions from the day racing around, we can start slow and start with that first check-in. How am I today? How is my body? How's my mind? How's my breath? And in that slow moment of clarity, let's set an intention for the day. If you don't have an intention in mind, I would like to invite you to dedicate your practice instead to a person in the world. Just to remind yourself that we don't just practice for ourselves, we practice for all beings. Beautiful. Whatever your intention is or your dedication, bring your hands together at heart center and let's deep inhale together. And exhale, sigh out the mouth. 2 more times like this. Inhale deeply through the nose. And exhale out the mouth. 1 last time. Inhale. And exhale, sigh out the mouth. Beautiful. Oh, I love doing those in the morning. Slowly flutter the eyes open. Hello, welcome back. And let's all make our way to tabletop position. So coming into our hands and knees, let's start with cat-cow here. So inhale, drop the belly, open the chest, gaze up. And exhale, curling in, chin towards chest, belly button towards spine like a cat. Inhale to drop the belly, open the chest. And exhale to curl in. Inhale 1 more time. And exhale to cat. And then slowly coming back to our tabletop position. We're going to inhale and lift that right arm up towards the ceiling before we come into thread the needle pose. So we thread that right arm underneath the left here, dropping the right shoulder down, dropping the right side of your face down as well. Palm facing up and feel that beautiful stretch in the upper part of your shoulder and the upper back. We're getting a nice spinal twist in here too. And try to make sure your hips don't dunk towards the left side. Bring them back into center so we're activating the core. 1 more deep breath here. Inhale. And exhale. And then slowly let's inhale, bring the arm all the way back up towards the sky. And let's switch sides. So bringing the right hand down, left arm comes all the way up. And exhale, thread the left underneath the right this time. And again, just bringing our awareness to that part of the body that we're stretching here. So the shoulder, the left upper back, the spinal twist that we're getting. And bringing breath to any areas where you might have tension. Inhale here. And exhale. Beautiful. Let's unwind again, lifting the arm all the way up. And then coming back to center. Let's tuck our toes under and lift our hips all the way up for back for downward facing dog. And as always, let's take whatever feels good for you this morning in your down dog. So maybe you want to shake the head out a little bit here, nod the head, turn it from side to side, maybe make some nice rotations, just making sure that your head is hanging nice and heavy and there's no tension held in the neck or shoulders. This is a great time to allow or relieve the tension in this area as our head is quite heavy and our neck and shoulders have to bear the weight of that all day. So down dog is a great time for you to just let that go. And obviously stretching out the back of the legs, bending 1 knee at a time, pressing the opposite heel down onto the mat. Pressing through all 10 fingers as well, taking some weight off of the wrists. And then slowly coming to stillness. We're going to tiptoe our feet towards the top of the mat here, coming into our ragdoll pose. Bending over our legs, hanging over, and potentially even grabbing opposite elbow with opposite hand if that feels good for you this morning. Swaying from side to side and really, like we did in butterfly pose, allowing your upper body to just relax and become heavy, supported by your bent knees, by your legs. And then slowly release the hands. Let's roll our way all the way up to standing, chin in towards the chest, rolling all the way up, arms up overhead, palms touch. And then let's come back into our forward fold with bent knees. Rolling up, inhale, rolling all the way up to standing, bringing that energy up towards the sky. And exhale, folding over the legs. And now planting the palms down on the mat, we're going to step the right leg back in space. So we're coming up into our runner's lunge here. So your hands can stay planted on the mat if they can make it there. They can also be up onto your fingertips. If this is also too much for you, feel free to come up into a high lunge with the hands on the hips or arms up. Otherwise, we're going to stay here. Just slowly rocking back and forth and feeling that nice stretch in the hip flexor. Opening the hips. And then now keeping the right hand planted on the mat, we're going to lift the left arm up towards the sky again. Another beautiful spinal twist. And then if your knee is up, releasing the back knee onto the mat, and we'll take a quad stretch here. So if you can, lifting that foot off the mat and grabbing the back foot with your hand, coming into a beautiful quad stretch. This can be a really tight one, so don't worry if you're here or you can't grab it at all. Just see if energetically you can pull that foot towards your glute here. This is a beautiful stretch for the morning. Opening up the front body. And releasing wherever you are. Let's plant both hands onto the mat and step forward into our forward fold. Again, rolling all the way up here, arms up overhead, inhale. And exhale, back to our forward fold. And we'll step the opposite leg back. So we're stepping the left leg back this time. And taking our rocks back and forth here. Or coming up if you were there already. And just again, rocking back and forth from this standing position. Opening up the hips on this side, and the hip flexor should get a nice deep stretch here. And now lift the right arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Coming into our beautiful twist. Inhale here. Exhale. Releasing that back knee down and grabbing the foot if you can, otherwise working to get yourself there. And then bringing the foot in as close as you can without pulling or jerking. This is a morning class, so you always want to be very delicate with your body. Well, you should be delicate with your body all day, but especially when you're not as open. Beautiful. Releasing, planting both hands onto the mat, and we're going to step back into our downward facing dog. Take a moment in your down dog here, shake it out, maybe see how this down dog feels in comparison to your last. Maybe you're already a little bit more open. And then slowly walk your feet into the middle of the mat. Widen your feet, mat width distance apart with the toes pointing out, heels pointing in, and we're just going to sit down into our yogi squat. Now, as always, if you're up onto the toes, don't worry here. Eventually, we'll work towards getting the heels down. But if your heels are down, then you can already bring your hands together at heart center and open the knees with your elbows gently. And wherever you are, whether you're moving with the hands down or the hands at heart center, let's close our eyes for a moment. Connecting with the breath again. Connecting with your intention or your dedication. Already feeling the energy flowing through the body. And then slowly flutter the eyes open. Let's bring our hands behind us, just like we did in the beginning of class. Bringing the soles of the feet in front of us again, and let's windshield wiper the legs. Opening and closing the hip. From side to side. Bringing our deep breaths in here. And then bringing the legs out in front of us for one last stretch today. So we're going to work into a forward fold, and I know that's a very hard stretch for a lot of people, so I'll guide you through it and we'll do it as relaxed as you would like to this morning. So keep the feet flexed here, and again, if you need to bend the knees, totally do that. The idea is that our torso can rest onto our top thighs. So you can bend the knees all the way up towards the torso and then rest your torso on the legs. Bring your hands to either side of you and then just slowly play around with kicking your heels forward. This is how I really started working on my flexibility in the back body, by moving with my body and not forcing it somewhere. So holding where you might feel a little bit of tension and bringing some deep breaths there. And then slowly but surely you can kick out. And as long as your torso is still on the legs, that's where you should rest for 2 deep breaths. It does not matter where you are. What matters is the awareness that you can cultivate through these asanas. because it teaches you a lot about you, your body. And once you get there and you realize, oh, every morning I do have tension in my back or tension in my jaw or in my hips, you start to think, why is that there? Could anything be causing that? Something I'm doing physically, something emotionally. That's what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to do the splits, even though that's fun too. Inhale deeply and exhale. Beautiful. Let's all slowly roll our way up one last time here. Come back into a cross-legged seated position on your mat, and let's inhale our arms all the way up one last time. Palms touch. And exhale, hands to heart center. Close off the eyes. Coming back to your intention, coming back to your dedication. Give yourself a moment of gratitude for showing up on the mat today to do good for you and everyone around you. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat. Namaste. And you can flutter your eyes open and lift your head. Thank you again for joining me for today's practice. I hope you feel great. Please let me know if you have any requests for future classes. I'm so happy to take them. Otherwise, I'll see you again next week and have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.